Hey, I'm back, and I figured I'd give you a wrap up for the year. So this is Nomad Musings, Q, a winter in review. I've been hearing from some of you that a lot of YouTubers out there are kind of complaining about how the year went this year. Personally, I think everything is what you make it. It's entirely possible they went into this year with dreams of what it was going to be and were disappointed and inflexible to some extent and didn't get their way, and that's what made it not fun for them. I mean, I will admit there were some aspects this year versus last year where this year kind of sucked more. The construction on Highway 95, you know, the main road that goes through town that everybody has to drive on to get anywhere north or south. Yeah, they could have done that maybe a couple months earlier, started a couple months later. But no, smack dab in the middle of high season, they're out there grinding up the road and messing with the sewers and the water and shutting down the water delivery systems so that we couldn't even fill our jugs because they didn't want to contaminate any water in town. So they have to shut down everything if they're working near a pipe. That was nutty. That was a pooper. It made traffic impossible on some days. It still is. And here it's March, and it's still, I've had trips to the dump where I couldn't get to the dump because everything was stopped and nothing was moving, nothing was happening. I said, fuck it, and turned around and went home. So it hasn't been ideal that way. Let's see what else. But at least weather-wise, I thought this year was much more pleasant rain-wise. We didn't really get any rain. A sprinkle here, a sprinkle there, just enough to muck up the dust and dirt and make your rig look easier. I don't remember seeing a single running wash this year. Heck, I was surprised to see a puddle after the last good sprinkle we had that, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a reflective thing with water in it. I had to remember from my youth because I used to run and jump into those things. They were one of my favorite toys until I screwed up my technique, and every time I'd jump into a puddle, the water would go straight up my pants legs. Didn't matter what technique I used, straight up. Yeah, so I had to give that up. But I'm still all kinds of fun otherwise. I just don't jump in puddles. I ain't stupid. That's what it is. Yeah, know your limitations. Okay, let's see. It's been, like I said, very dry, windy as hell. This year, much windier than I noticed last year. I mean, the rig, the buffeting that I was taking, watching what it was doing to my tents this season. Windier than shit is what it was. Cold, not so bad, really. Tolerable. Very tolerable this year. I didn't shiver once. Well, I'm getting to be a tough old bird, that's it. I'm a seasoned nomad now. It's my second winter out here, so I'm going to be gearing into year 3 next month. End of next month. So, wow. Still here, still doing it. You're still hanging out watching. Thank you very much. Let's see, what else have I got on my list? First of all, unfold myself. Another thing that I noticed about this winter in Quartzsite, few things, but the energy was different than last season. People are a little edgier, a little more uncertain about stuff, and things are heightened. Yeah, so that made it a little weird around here at times. I've seen friendships and relationships take just the damnedest turns out of nowhere and go swing, and you know, it's like, wow, what happened there? It's life. That's what happened there. Shit happens. Deal with it, you know? But yeah, people came here probably expecting kind of what last year was like. It's a continuation, same shit, different year, you know? And it's not. It was a very different energy. It the assholes were almost assholier than thou kind of a thing. So it's like, hey, yeah, our team won, so we can do whatever the heck we want. And a lot of them have these little four-wheel thingies, you know, side by side, 4x4, ATV, whatever the hell they're calling them these days. But there is a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit out in the desert. You think, oh, no, 15 miles an hour, because anything over that, and you're kicking up a shitload of dust. And these people had no respect for that this year. I mean, we're going down Old Yuma Road, you know, doing the 15, and out of nowhere, we get passed by boom, 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 just, you know, doubling, if not more, the speed limit. I don't know how fast those little things can go, but these dudes were doing it, not caring that they're just kicking up shitloads of dust. And when I was staying out on Plamosa, which is, let's just call it 20 miles away from the LTVA, but you can see it because out here you can see everything. And the layers of dust getting kicked up by these asshats and their expensive little toys, I'd watch it creeping higher and higher up the side of the mountain. I mean, it's just a pack of dust that everybody out there in the LTVA has to breathe. And it settles everywhere, and it's nasty, and you get the dust devil, rented lips, dust devil thingies that just pick up and make a wall of sand and send those through, so you get sandblasted. It makes for very, very unpleasant hanging out, which is one reason I was not in the LTVA this year. I didn't realize it was going to be that bad, but I figured it was going to be pretty bad. So I can't imagine next year paying hundreds more dollars for the privilege of eating dust. I sure as hell ain't gonna do it anymore. That's just crazy. It's not healthy, and people don't care what their fun does to other folks. And when stuff starts getting that way, it's better to be somewhere else. So I'm going to be somewhere elsing myself as much as possible from here on out. But anyway, let's see what else we got about. Okay, so I'm checking my list because I didn't want to forget anything. Because I had folks saying, hey, what was your take on Quartzsite this year? Yeah, so we covered the weather, dust, assholes, construction, weird friendships and relationships. Okay, let's get into some of the things I'm glad I did before the season started. So to prepare for this season, my favoriteest item turns out to be my peace pipe. It's just a naked pipe when I got it. And I bought some leather and had some beads hanging around from other projects and stuff. And so I made a peace pipe. And for those inclined to want to smoke said peace pipe, it's a great way to make some new friends. You pass this around, everybody knows, hey, it's all good. There's peace in this pipe. So, number one best thingy, my pipe. I'm a badass. I'm a smoker. Ugh, live with it. I do. Another thing that I'm really glad I did this to prepare for this year, I don't know if you saw my video on no more fabric spaghetti, but the beds in these rigs, it's not a standard bed. It's a little wider than I am, and it's just a scotch longer than I am. That's tiny. And regular sheets and blankets do not fit. All of it, what I have on this bed are throws, airline blankets, lap robes, that kind of thing. Small, 48 by 60, that kind of thing. But none of it will tuck, and none of it will stay. Last winter, I would wake up every time and I would just have a pile of fabric spaghetti, as I call it. You get up and you pee and you come back to bed, and it's like, I want to get under the covers, but There's only one that's identifiable as something that would work. The rest are just all drove me frickin' nuts because, you know, you get old like me, you get up a few times at night. And it was a shitty way to start a day. And every day, and all night, every night. And it's like, oh, I'm not doing that this year. No frickin' way. So I took all my blankies, 4 of them, and in 3 corners, I put grommets. So that one, and that one. So the two on the bottom, 1 on the side that I don't flip open. And I put cable ties through the grommets to hold all 4 blankets into a chunk. And then those cable ties, I cable tied to some screws, the eye screw kind of thingies. I just screw them in and had loops to stick the other cable ties through. So I have not once this year woken up PO'd, vexed, ticked. It hasn't happened. Yay! All because I wrangled these frickin' blankets. They're my blankets. I want to put holes and grommets in them. I could do that. You know, what do I care? I paid for a couple of them. Some were donated, some I stole. Well, I figure when you're paying that kind of money for an airplane, y'all deserve to get a blanket if you can stuff it in your carry-on. It's amazing what you can stuff in a carry-on. Trust me. Anywho, so yeah, that's the best thing I did for my sanity, such as it is. I wanted to maintain what little bit I had left, and that was driving me knuckin' man, every single time I'd get up. And it's not necessary, not when you can wrangle those bitches with some grommets and some cable ties and a little hardware. Boom, problem solved. Go me. Yeah. What else made this year? Oh, another thing that made this year so much better than last year. I have an allowance now. I'm officially an old fart, and I get rewarded for that every month. Woot! Yeah, money. It makes a difference. Trust me. Not having to rely on other folks and the kindness of strangers and what have you to get through. Yeah, having my own income. I can supply myself with what I need for the upcoming season. Amazon loves me right now because half of my check this month went to getting ready for spring, summer, fall. Because it's coming fast. I mean, yesterday it got up to 98, I think, here. It's just the annual Arizona, they crank up the heaters, blow them out, make sure there's no gas leaks, that kind of thing. So they're just testing before they start the official preheating of the state for the summer. So yeah, it's just 3 days of maintenance and testing, and then it'll go away for hopefully a couple, 3 weeks. Then I'll be ready to load up and get the heck out of Dodge. All the stuff that I have being delivered is going to California. My girls back in that I spent the summer with last summer. I'm letting them hang on to all my stuff. It's a reason for me to come and say howdy, right? And I miss them and the doggies and stuff. So we'll switch a few items. I'll leave some unnecessary things there, grab my bicycle, and hopefully get it mounted on the back of my rig. So that's a new project. New project coming. Yeah, we'll see how that works. It looks good mentally. I haven't put it on paper yet, but looks good up here. And so I think it'll work. Let's see. And so I'll be gone for like a week. Then I'll get back, and we're gonna break down this camp, get everything loaded up, and start slowly heading northward. It's still very wet up north, and we don't want to be arriving into cold ass nights and shitloads of mud. So it's going to be just kind of a slow up and over to get to what's essentially a 6 mile or 6 hour trip. Is going to take about 6 weeks tops. Whatever the weather decides we're going to do. If it says, "Ooh, bitch, I'm going to be heating things up," we're going to be, heading up sooner than we thought. and hopefully just not arriving to a mess. That's all we really want. So fingers crossed for that. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I had all sorts of philosophical stuff there I could have thrown in, but nah. You guys don't deserve that. I'll save that for some other musing when I'm, waxing wise and all that. But just wanted to give you the year in review from Q, as we call Quartzsite, because it's shorter. So yeah, I had not at all the year I had envisioned. I'll grant you that, but I didn't, hold solid to that vision. It's like, oh, that's happening. Okay, let's do this then. And, oh, okay, let's do that. Got to be flexible in this, particularly the nomad lifestyle, because shit happens. Roll with it, baby. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. So be flexible, plan stuff because it makes God laugh, if nothing else. But know that it's not going to come true. Shit's going to happen. Everything's going to go, whoa. And, you got to deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. And that's what this year is learning about dealing with stuff. I don't want to be miserable anymore. I was pretty damn miserable last year, and I ain't playing it anymore. So this year, here's to me. Fucking woot. Doing good. Looking forward to a fun summer, hanging out and getting to know other nomads in our native environment, as it were, and just seeing what life has in store next. Because that's what it's all about, is, rolling with the punches. Life says, hey, hold my beer, smack, and then takes their beer back and walks off, and you're like, what do I do with this smack? I could sure use a cold beer, but I don't have one anymore. You live with it, and you bring your own beer. That's, I guess, the lesson that life has to teach us. Bring your own beer. But until then, I am going to wrap this up because it's getting a little hot. I got to start turning on more fans, and it's going to make me hard to understand. So you all take care. Enjoy the spring that's coming, the summer that's coming, whatever you got coming. Enjoy it. Why not? What else do we got to do? Be miserable? Screw that shit. Have fun. Be weird. Be out there. Just amuse yourself. Crack your own ass up. If you can do that, and then, other people are like, why are you giggling? It's like, oh, it's not me, it's my ass. I cracked it. And just get the weird going from there. That's all we need. Just plant the seeds of weirdness and get the balls rolling and have a really great time doing it. So I am going to wish you all the best. As obvious, no normal, no behaving, life's too short for that shit. It's all a trap anyway. Get out there, find your best self, be your best self, love your best self, and then you can help other people love their selves, that they're going to find out how best they are, and it's going to make a great world. Trust me on that one. So y'all take care. I'll catch you down the road. Shutterbug out.